specify or give us enough information that this is a mountain, right? Rocky and dry, then very moist. Um, right? We have the clam fossil, which we know lives in a very moist area, and a tree fossil who would probably live in something very rocky and dry. So that would not be the answer. So our only answer that makes sense is A, beach followed by a forest. Right, number two, geologists discovered a layer of rock formed millions of years in the past. Which of the following would provide the best evidence of what the environment was like when the rock formed? Right? So when we think about um, rock formation, we also think about the plants and animals that live there too, because again, from the last question, those plants and animals help us. Um, they help us know what was there before versus what is there now. So we're looking for an answer that specifies plants and animals. Okay. So we say A, the time when the rock appears to have formed, B, the sediments from which the rock is made, C, the fossil plants and animals found in the rock, or D, the kind of rocks above and below the rock layer. Okay. Um, So C would not be it. The sediments from which the rock is made help us um, would not help us understand what environment was like when the rock was formed. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what the environment was like when the rock was formed, and the sediments don't really give us that evidence. Okay. Also, the time when the rock appears to have formed, that's not going to help us understand what the environment was like when the rock was formed. It's only going to help us understand the age of the rock, and I'll put age there. Okay. All right. The kind of rocks above and below the rock layer. Again, this is something that's going to help us indicate what the age is like versus what the environment was like. So C is the fossil plants and animals found in the rock. That's what's going to help us know what the environment was like when the rock formed. All right, number three, finding fossils of what kind of organism in the rock layers below a forest would lead to the conclusion that the area long ago had a large lake. A, tall trees, B, small reptiles, C, flowering plants, or D, freshwater fish. So um, again, we are looking for a fossil that's going to help us that is going to help us show that an area long ago had a large lake, right? So I want you to think about what usually lives in a large lake, because this is what's going to help us. Um, this fossil is going to help us know that a large lake was there. So think about what lives in a large lake. Okay, so right off the bat, we know that it's not going to be tall trees. Okay, though tall trees could thrive in large lakes, we know that they don't help us understand what kind of organisms um, lived in the large lake. Flowering plants don't either, and small reptiles don't either. So it has to be freshwater fish. Freshwater fish, they live in lakes, and when they decay, their skeletons form on the rocks and they give us fossils. Number four, the tables here give information on animal and plant fossils. Based on the information in the tables, which two fossils would most likely be found together in the same rock? So I am going to underline most likely be found together in the same rock. All right. So our answer choices are A, fish skull and cactus, B, mouse skull and seaweed, C, alligator toe bone and fern, and D, shark's tooth and marsh grasses. So when we're looking for a fossil, the two fossils that would most likely be found in the same rock, we're also making sure that they are from the same habitat. Okay, so looking at the fish skull and cactus, freshwater pond and lakes, cactus is in the desert. These are two different habitats. So we know that that's not the answer choice. Mouse skull and seaweed. Mouse skull is in the desert. Seaweed is in salt water. They are in two different areas. We know that they are not from the same rock. Alligator toe bone and fern. Alligator toe bone is in marshes and swamps. Fern is in swamps and marshlands. That could be an answer, right? Shark tooth and marsh grass. So the shark tooth is in the deep ocean and the marsh grass is in fresh water. That's not in the same area or in the same rock. So C would be one of our answer choices. Yes. All right, number 5. Fossils are best used as evidence about which of these? A, the processes that change rocks over time. B, how best to conserve natural resources. C, the plants and animals that lived long ago. Or D, force drives the water cycle on Earth. So automatically, which one has nothing to do about fossils? Yes, the water cycle has nothing to do about fossils, right? The next one would be how to conserve natural resources. While we were learning fossils, we didn't really learn about natural resources and how fossils help us conserve them. The process that change rocks over time, even though they're fossils, they're not necessarily changing. The rocks are still the same, they don't change. It's just that the plants or animals are decaying in the rock, forming a fossil. So they help us with plants and animals that lived long ago. All right, so our last quiz is the concept attendant quiz. And this one had matching vocabulary. So the first definition says to retain characteristics over long periods of time. Which one do you think it would be? Fossil, model, organism, or preserve? It would probably be preserve because preserve means that it's preserving something over a long period of time. It's like it's keeping it there for a long period of time. It's almost like when you put something in the refrigerator and you want to keep it fresh, you're preserving that food for like a certain amount of time. Okay. A living thing, we know that that is an organism, a representation of something in nature. We know that is a model. And then the preserved remains or trace of an organism is a fossil. All right, true or false? Write T or F on the line. Draw a diagram for each statement below to prove your answer. Now, I didn't draw a diagram. It was not possible for me, but I will have what I wrote for my answer choice. Ooh. So of a fish found a fossil of a fish found many layers below a fossil of a lizard would have lived many years after the lizard. So it's basically saying that this fish is below a fossil of a lizard, but it's saying that the fresh fish is actually younger than the lizard. And we know that's false because the older fish fossil is below the younger lizard fossil. So we know that since the fish is found in the lower levels right here, is in the lower levels that is actually older than the lizard fossil. Okay. A model of sedimentary layers showing two fossils in the same layer means that the fossils are different ages. And we know that's false because we just had a question that explained to us that fossils are the same layer. Fossils on the same layer would indicate that they are the same age. Okay. And if we were to draw that, like if we were to draw this one, we would have this top layer, and then we would have this bottom layer, and then this would be the fish. No, sorry, this would be the lizard. And then this would be the fish. And then that would show us that this layer is older than this layer. And the same with this layer right here. So if we had two layers and we had a fossil here and a fossil here and a fossil here and a fossil here, I'm going to number these. We know that fossils 1 and 2 are the same age because they're in the same layer, and fossils 3 and 4 are the same age because they are in the same layer. All right, so I hope that I helped you with your quizzes and that you're understanding this lesson of fossils. This is the last day on our fossils level. Next week, we will do adaptation that we had briefly gone over in class before we took our CA3. So I hope you guys are doing well. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. All right, bye for now.